Yeah, not gonna lie. Kyle Lowry for 33 off the bench. Yeah, I didn't have that one in the playbook yesterday. Hawks took care of business there, and for a bunch of guys who were talking some heat yesterday as backstacks, I don't know how to feel now.
I mean, the answer was the Hawks bench is actually like the 92 Bulls.
Dude,
Like,
like actually, like they came in and they did work. I think they had 55 off the bench or something like that, 52 off the bench. Like, and that whole narrative we drew up about like Atlanta being soft and you
they hurt
know
us.
they hurt us big
They
time. Oh my
fucking
goodness.
hurt us. And then like just Sadiq, like all these bench guys just putting up absolute numbers. And I will give them credit. Like there are names here. Like the Hawks kind of have a deeper bench than most teams, and that's like not
Right.
really saying like a ton, just because they don't have the other like pieces like around them, in my opinion, to be like serious contenders. However, it's a deep bench, especially whenever we've been drafting these dances. Like you start to feel the depth or lack thereof for around like or
For
just
other teams. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, and it's something that we kind of downplayed because we were like bench depth in the playoffs doesn't really matter. You're going to run minutes for all the
Yeah.
big time guys, and then we were like, hey, look at the big time guys on the Hawks. Like as a resident Trey stan, to get Trey so wrong in the playoffs, I feel so bad right now
Right? Isn't that the
because
worst?
because it's just like, oh yeah, he's so soft. He's just going to play in the corner. Jimmy Bucket's going to take care of his ass, and that's exactly what didn't happen. Like
Nope.
Trey just balled out, distributing everywhere. I think he put up 25, 28, something like that as well.
Yeah, 25, 7, and 8.
Yeah, just
Just masterful. But he had a bad night from 3 too. He was only 1 from
right.
8. So, yeah, I mean, I do think like I think that they're gonna get steamrolled by the Celtics still. But hey, if they can make
Yeah.
that for the Celtics stackers out there for the dance, if they can make this a six game series, that's great news.
Yeah, I think this. I don't know. I want to have your opinion on this because does this make your Celtics stacks feel better or worse? Because if I think the Heat had a legit chance to upset the Celtics, right?
I thought
But
so.
yeah, and that was kind of like our thesis was, hey, and we only need the production from Bam and from Jimmy, right? Like that was kind
Mhm.
of just like you just need those two pieces and let's go with it. Now all of a sudden, it's kind of like I wish I had more Celtics in my life, but I'm also like that series might just be a sweep now. But I don't know, right?
Yeah, talking with Pete yesterday, like I don't think I've been like giving enough credit to like I just been like kind of just not thinking too deep about the sweeps at this point
Mhm.
in drafting. I was just like, you know what, like we didn't even know the final seeding yet. I was just like, you know
Mhm.
what, I'm gonna get the teams that I want, and then I'm gonna make sure that I can fill out a starting roster in the finals, maybe a little bit overkill with some of the teams, such as the Nuggets, who are really easy to build out 5 player teams and builds of just on the Nuggets side alone. I don't know if I said Nuggets the first time, but just on the
You
Nuggets
did.
side
Yeah.
alone. And yeah, now that we have the seedings, you do kind of have to think about that, right? And sweeping. And I don't know, man. I don't know that the Celtics are going to sweep. They just haven't been that dominant
Mhm.
down the stretch. Is kind of how I feel about the Celtics right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see a hell of a matchup between Dejounte and Trey versus the two Jays. Like, I think that's gonna at least be fun. I'm not sure Atlanta can give them the same push as we were anticipating the Heat to give them because yeah, I just feel the same way as I
So,
did
but like
yesterday.
a
Like
sweep
Atlanta won
of
one game, but I still just feel like they're so soft, right?
they
I don't know.
are, they still are, but it's like a sweep of Atlanta. You could probably call that like 5 games of Miami, right? Just because of the pace that they play. Like, do
Good point.
you get like half
Yeah.
another game, that you would get out of Miami, just because the pace is just like so fast with Atlanta. Like, I don't know, like I don't feel too bad about it if I have Celtics teams, and I wish I had more. Like I don't have a lot of Jason Tatum right now. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
wish
that
I
you
had
have to
more
pay
now
for that.
too. I think that's a really good point that you bring up though. Like when we talked so much about pace of play yesterday, we talked to so much about like it throughout the daily season is like 4 games versus Atlanta. I mean, you could see the Celtics and some of their depth guys even matter now. Like you could see
Yeah,
like the 35-point Malcolm Brogdon game now. Like whereas I'm not sure we were going to see that against the Heat. But hey, if Kyle Lowry can turn back the clock, score 33 off the bench in a playoff game, I mean,
you
it's
just knew it was coming
possible.
whenever he had that little pretty green button in the lobbies. You're just like, oh yeah, this is a monster game coming because the icon looks good next to his
Yeah,
name.
exactly.
That's it.
GA addressing the elephant in the room. Numi's not here with us today. He is back at Target Field. Guy is living the life right now. How rich goes out there yesterday, sees his boy Pablo Lopez and sees Byron Buxton hit a home run. He was sitting in the first row there, and then he just kept that train rolling. Right? He just back for a day game apparently. So love to see
Good
it
for him.
there. Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about the other one then. Dude, Mike Conley, clutch as hell, and then it just
Nails,
didn't
man.
matter.
Nails. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. That was such an ugly game. That was just an ugly, ugly game. I didn't have like a problem with like the refereeing and the amount of fouls. I mean, like, is this like your first Lakers game? Like that's what happens. Like
Yeah.
the Lakers whistle is real. That is what happens. They're gonna get to the hole and they're gonna draw fouls and they're gonna get calls. And they didn't get as like, yeah, the fouls were overwhelming Lakers to T-Wolves. Like that's a
Mhm.
fact, but you can't put this loss all on the refs. Like that's just like that's very much disingenuous to do that. There were times where like, Reeves didn't get every whistle like he was getting before. Like, it wasn't all bad, but the
Mhm.
Lakers looked really bad. I will say that. They looked sloppy. There was a lot of like really bad turnovers on the Lakers
Oh,
end. Like,
even the turnovers that led to the kind of second life in overtime.
mhm.
Like I can't remember who was in the corner. If it was slow-mo for the 3 at the
that
end
was
ish
Con
there.
that was Conley, I think. The
No,
one that
Connolly was end of regulation.
okay.
And then in the second to last possession of overtime, it was a bad turnover off of a
Mhm.
side inbound by the
Mhm.
Lakers where the game should have been over. It should have just
Yeah.
been inbound foul, make one. Even if you only make one at the line, the game's over. But instead it's a turnover back the other way. And then the T-Wolves had a 3 with like 12 to 18 seconds left on the clock to tie it at that point.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I mean,
just an ugly game. Just an ugly game. But I will say, like, I don't think we're gonna see that Lakers team against the Grizzlies. I mean, hopefully not. If the Lakers play like that against the Grizzlies, then they're toast. But
mhm.
right now, the odds on this series are really tight, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets closer and closer to like plus 100, minus like 120, either way by the time tip off for the first game happens.
I got a question for you. Let's make the Lakers an NFL comp right now
Okay.
and go back in time to playoff best ball of 2022.
Okay.
And we go Bengals with Lakers. Okay. Where the Bengals were free. They were getting drafted in like the late ends of the spectrum there. And then all of a sudden their ADPs kept pushing up, pushing up, pushing up to the point in which they were no longer a value. Is that what the Lakers are right now in the dance?
I think, I mean, the Bengals are a good call. I think I would probably go more like Niners. Um,
So you still think they're worth their price right now,
see that
even though we potentially know that there are teams that exist out there because I got a couple bullets in the chamber
do I? Man, my
where
bags are packed.
yeah, where it's like you got LeBron and AD in like round 6 and 7, 8 and 9, like stuff like this from a couple months ago. Does that deter you from taking Lakers now?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Personally, I don't
Yeah.
think so. Just because the only thing is like To me, the skeleton key to the Lakers, to drafting the Lakers, is how much steam does like D'Angelo Russell get? Because what makes the Lakers, in my opinion, like so awesome to draft is that D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves, who get a ton of time on the court for the Lakers, were going with like in the 9th and 10th rounds. And that was like, that's what made the gamble or the reach of AD and LeBron so enticing. It's because you can then get their two teammates, and now all you need is like one team in the East to pair with that. And you have 5 teams in the
Right.
finals if you get there. You can just hodgepodge the best players available around that core and set yourself up really well if the Lakers make the finals to advance with them. And D'Angelo
Okay.
Russell is getting steam, and it's now getting to the point where you have to take AD and LeBron at the 1-2 turn from the 6 hole. You are no longer getting them back with Giannis. And I have a lot of Giannis, AD, LeBron teams like with
Yeah.
a Chris Middleton and a Brook Lopez. So if you're gonna pair, you need to think about who you're pairing them with, because I have a lot of them with the Celtics. I have a lot of them with the Bucks.
Okay.
I think if you're gonna do Lakers now, maybe and I have a lot with the Sixers too. So maybe you get a little unique, and maybe you pair them with like the Cavs or the East sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at one right now on the side screen here where I have them paired with Brooklyn and the Cavs. And it's funny that you went that direction. I have no idea what I was thinking in this draft, but
well,
it has Nick Claxton, Mobley, Jokic. It has both the Clippers guys. It has both the Cleveland guards, Dimwitty and LeBron. No AD actually, but it's LeBron.
do you have that pulled up on your computer? Because like here's the thing, like yeah, it's a long shot for the Celtics and Sixers and Bucks to not make the finals, but holy crap, if it's not going to be one of those teams, it's probably going to be Cleveland or Brooklyn. Like let's be real, those teams are not bad. Like I don't think that they are equipped to beat the best of the East, but I mean, hell, man, if you're gonna like it's a hell of a way to place a future bet. Okay, so this is Lakers, or this is
Yeah.
Clippers.
This is my classic like double tap the wings in the middle that I kept doing. And I told everybody how I loved Cleveland from the East when you built out this front end West. And then, you're getting LeBron in the 8th.
Oh, that's
there.
LeBron in the 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to see his little cutoff.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's interesting because it's the same thesis as it finishes with Claxton, Dinwiddie, Claxton. It's interesting because the thesis is very similar to our daily contest, where you go like, how did so and so get such a crazy lineup at a Wob Wednesday? Like, how the hell did you get Luka plus Giannis? And it's like, well, when you're drafting later in the day, it's impossible. When you're drafting early and there's 100 out tags in between, well, that's how these combinations are going to exist, right? Because if we look at that draft board now, the out tags that are just filtered in the middle is like, the Lukas, the Kyries, it's just interesting. People were drafting Zion, people were drafting, the picks are littered with like the pool being so spread out. Now that it's more condensed, there's less leverage, and in late LeBron's not there anymore, but at least you can get guys that are actually playing now alongside.
Yeah, let me share this one team that I have just real quick. Let me just do one quick brag before we hop in,
like it.
And just kind of show you like what like myself and maybe some others are working with here in some of these dances. So let me share the draft board here. This is one with Rydock. So this is a Giannis, Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton team. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
With AD and LeBron and the 4 and 5, with like extra points from Jalen Brunson and Evan Mobley, with the Lakers guards, and then Dinwiddie.
Yeah. So I think it's basically impossible now to do the 3 Bucks and the Lakers. Like that's
That's
impossible.
straight up done. Like you can no
Yeah.
longer get that. And I mean, like,
Especially after the win last night.
yeah, exactly. Now that they're for sure locked in, like you can't get this anymore. So just be mindful of, hey, if you're building Bucks and I could and here's it's a scenario where like, hey, the Bucks sweep and then like I'm screwed. You know, like it's
Sure,
potential
yeah.
that like a Buck sweep could kill me, but just having like the Mobley and the Brunson and the Dinwiddie, just those three pieces to help get some points there, I think is going to be helpful. So definitely just kind of think about when you're building out Lakers, what combinations exist. Because for every one of these, I also have like a Harden, Embiid, AD, LeBron team as well. So
Sure. Yeah.
just word to the wise, I would maybe just like think about your Lakers teams when you build them out.
No, I think it's a good point too. And a lot of those early Lakers teams, if you're going to build Lakers now, a lot of those early Lakers teams are not going to have uh, Reeves, Schroeder, or D'Angelo. Like they're just not going to have those auxiliary pieces because it was only 2 pieces from Lakers that you were building. You were building them the same as the Heat early in draft season, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, oh, AD and LeBron, that's all you need. So there is some leverage there too in building Lakers now, that if you're actually building like Lakers as a solo team out of the West, to like make it a 4-person and that sort of thing. And then you introduce a little bit more variance in your favorite there. Although you did do that in that one, but just kind of like food for thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple things here. Yeah, Josh McCaffrey saying, yeah, $1 for every turnover last night. Yeah, if I
Oh
had a
my
dollar for every
gosh.
turnover in that game last night, I might have broken even. So that that might be good. And yeah, Brett Boy, man, this is crazy. Daily Diamond on Wednesdays, they have been pumping. We filled a second one this morning. You genuinely love to see it, and that is with a playoff basketball contest looming as well, and with a Wob Wednesday going on right now.
I think they were
Just
both
great
5K
to see.
too, which is like cool. And I'm cool with that. You know, like I don't need
Mhm.
them to shoot the moon with the 10K and hope it fills. Like if it's got to be multiple 5Ks, like I have no problem with that. Like
Mhm.
if it just fills and let's do another one, because it keeps the max entries a little bit smaller, keeps that playing field more even. Um, I have no problem with that. I think that's cool.
Yeah. Hey, shout out GA, had some success in the puck streets the other night. Took that one down. We tweeted that one out. Love to see that. But he's in there in the baseball now too. I mean, if there's any sport that correlates like over, like we've said this a couple times now, hoops and golf in terms of daily are quite similar, and then football, baseball, and hockey are quite similar just because of the positional designations and the correlation patterns. Like even if you don't know some of the hitters, some of the matchups, some of the whatever, hang out with us, we'll push you in the right direction, and then just use your brain that you clearly are so astute with in the puck streets and just apply it here, right?
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Case in point, yesterday, if you were not tapped into the streets, you would
Mhm.
have no idea that like to expect a shootout from Wrigley Field from the Cubs and the
Good
Mariners.
point.
Newman
Yeah.
and I talked about it. We all talked about it. Talked about the weather and talked about the home run odds, the implied totals, and we had Magikarp, sharp player, in the Discord and in the chat telling us to shut the hell up because of like it's such like a strange spot. Like on paper, like you would never think like Wisniewski versus Flex, and like yeah, they're not great pitchers, but like certainly you wouldn't expect a 20-run game. And lo and behold, 20 runs popped off, and that was just like an off the wall type of game that hey, we're trying to help you out with. So I know Chip fully stacked the Cubs, and he doesn't play a lot of baseball, and had a decent night last night. So
Yeah.
no crazy Wrigley on the slate today, and no Coors on the slate today. So that kind of like makes things I don't know, depending on your taste, a bit more fun.
Yeah, a little bit more palatable for the average player, where you can kind of do whatever you want because there's not 2 games getting kind of like 100% drafted over and over again. So I
Yeah,
do think it's probably a more enjoyable slate for certain players. It's funny that we had 3 distinct time slot slates, and neither of those games made any of the 3.
right.
Yeah,
It's kind of interesting.
just because of the timing of them and the way those days were. But hey, I commend Underdog for they a little slip up last week where they doubled up on one of the games. I think it was just an accident, but they
Yeah.
doubled up. Yeah, they doubled up on one of the games between the morning slate and the main slate, and it effectively pushed the timeline of all of those games up 2 hours just to accommodate one extra game instead of having like
The
an 8
Royals
game
too.
slate. It was like a 7 game slate. Yeah, and it was for the Royals. It was kind of unfortunate because I think that's why we didn't see it fill that day. But
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know, just
We kind of
really
called
good to
it though.
see
Like we knew
we're in
that
the right
like
direction.
exactly like we knew that like things were trending positively. It was just like the start times. They were just kind of like feeling it out and like maybe it was just like a celebration. Like hey, it's the start of baseball season. Let's give you some overlay. Like hey, let's celebrate baseball being
Let's
back.
throw them
And
throw them a bone,
yeah,
eh?
go ahead. And now we've got these contests filling like consistently. Maybe if we, depending on how quickly we can fill these other ones, we can get a slight increase. But I'm not going to get greedy. It's just fun to see. I just like activity in the streets. Like more than squeezing EV out of a contest. Like I just want these to be popular because they're fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, the fact that we filled 2 daily diamonds and they happen before I'm even awake and drafting who's gonna max both of them is pretty sick. That like we're doing it without me getting in there. This is a good thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think people were clamoring just cut.
I like that.
People are
Uh,
clamoring to draft Pirates against Jose Urquidy. I think is the reason because they're only on that
Ooh.
early slate. I
Ooh.
don't know if you saw, man. Electric walk off. They walked off the
Uh
Astros last night.
I did see. I did see. I saw the highlight of.
Yeah,
I obviously not watching, but
obviously. But G1 Bay with the walk off home run.
Yeah,
It was
there's a
electric.
household name. There's a household name, the
He
old
will.
G1 Bay.
He will be.
Um,
He will be.
there's some interesting stuff we could do here. We can do the Kevin Durant, Devin Booker kind of start here. We could push up Lakers for the bid equity and see if we could do a little Lakers. Uh,
You could. You totally could.
I kind of feel bad. Like Kevin Durant could just be the best player on earth here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I
fine.
hope, I genuinely hope we somehow get Lakers Sun just for like pure entertainment value. Booker goes there, so there kind of goes that plan. Um, Ja and hope the Memphis guys fall, even though we're dealing with both West. We could do LeBron and just take one of the Lakers guys because they won't make it back.
Let's go
Um,
Jaw. Let's go Galbrain here. Let's
okay.
say Memphis, like, despite them feeling, in my opinion, overrated, I think we try to build a Grizzlies team here, and then
Uh-huh.
KD meets them in the Western Finals, and he's like a wing that helps carry our team to the semis in this contest because the Grizzlies don't really have any wings for us. What up? What up, Dad?
What up,
Welcome to the
Coach
live stream.
Nez?
That's Coach. Yeah, that's
Coach
Coach Nez.
Nez. Uh,
But yeah, I mean, like, what do you think about that? Like using like like a sacrificial piece from a good team, just because wing is just like so top heavy. You know what I mean? And it's just somebody that they're not going to be in the finals, but they can definitely help get you there. I think it's viable.
yeah, I think it's kind of the same thesis as we implemented yesterday with the Tatum pick,
Hmm.
where it was like we took Tatum and then we or
Or
no,
no,
sorry,
it was Brown. I was going to say,
it
do we
was
take?
it was Brown. It was not in the waltz, in the dance that we
Oh,
did to end the stream there, where you were like, I'm gonna get a little weird here.
oh
And you
yeah.
built out the wings.
That was
That's
another
mid
Jalen
reason.
Brown team. I have so much Jalen Brown because I can't get Tatum. But
Right.
that was like so that was a Jalen Brown is like the sacrificial wing for the
Mhm.
Cleveland team because Cleveland only has like Karis LeVert, and we built a Cleveland Warriors team that way, and that team turned
Right.
out really good. I
With
really like that team.
one off wing being
Jalen
Brown.
Brown.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the Warriors wings as well, who can have really nice scores against the Kings. Like that really makes the Warriors extremely appealing.
Mm. Yes. Um okay, we got some decisions to make here. We can go sacrificial wing again and build out West and just
Oh
take Braun
shit.
because it's Braun. and then we get that matchup. But I think Jaren Jackson is the pick. I don't think the guy on the
Who does
end
our
would
neighbor
ever
have?
just take. Say again.
Who's the badge next to us have? Or oh Jesus.
Let's just do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, let's have some fun.
All
Let's
right.
see if we can make this work.
We can.
Yeah. So he's got Phoenix and he's got Boston to start.
I wonder where he goes here. Okay, so he's going Sabonis and Mitchell. Now this is JJJ, right?
Now it's JJJ for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have. See, the thing was, we took a gamble by letting that go and hoping he took Sabonis over JJJ as the big. Right? That was kind of like
because we wanted Grizzly
there.
Yeah.
We kind of would have been fucked if he took JJJ and then we just were like, okay, now what?
Yeah. Sabonis could have been like, you could do the similar thing here, like with Sabonis, because we have KD as such like a strong wing, and then you get Sabonis as somebody as opposed to LeBron. And that works twofold because one, like big is also pretty fragile. I know we have JJJ, but Sabonis against the Warriors could be like a massively important piece in round one. And then you kind of dominate big.
Are we scared at all about the Draymond, like kind of like defense narrative versus like the softer center that's not your prototypical archetype center in Sabonis?
I'm not. And I think, and maybe this is like too gal brain, but like Draymond is a great like on ball defender, sure. But like what he does really well is he's great like help side defender. And he just has really good like defensive awareness. Like his impact defensively is not like shutting down another team's big. It's like I'm wreaking havoc because I'm in the paint and I'm helping like crazy while also like having awareness of where my guy is at all times. He just affects everybody's defense around him more so than like one player on another team. And Sabonis is a technician. Like I wouldn't be scared about like a matchup like that personally.
Okay. Yeah. I think I come off the exact same thought process as you. I just wanted to hear it to not think I was stupid.
Yeah. I think some people
really
like
smart.
might get there, you know, they might try to overthink the matchups. Oh, I didn't even know Jaylen Brown had a hand injury. I'm going to assume it's not that serious because I didn't even know about it. It says he will be ready for the playoffs 4 days ago. So to answer you, Paulie Chips, not too worried. Okay.
This is fun. We can do the Desmond Bain. Obviously, lines up, makes so much sense for us here. I'm looking at the board right now.
I think we might just want it.
CP3 went there.
Okay, so he's building out Cleveland. Can we go back real quick?
Oh shit.
I think Bain is the pick. I don't want to like put him on the spot. You know, you don't want to like disrespect your neighbor and be like, hey, I bet you won't take like a really good guard. You know what I mean? And just like assume he'll snipe you. I think he's gonna take Cleveland. Okay.
Yeah, so he goes the Cleveland route. Which kind of means we're open-ended for East, but it's gonna be ugly. I think we can go Knicks right now. I think we could go like Trey.
So I would say Time Lord. Let's get some big points. Let's just to like back up. Just you never know what happens with JJJ, and then we can get some cheap Celtics guards to fill out. So we're not shit. I'm trying to think here because to fill out a finals team here.
Yeah, we would need 2 Celtics or 1 Celtic.
If Tobias Harris makes it back, like we can just like take him just to like have somebody, and then you could go like Harris and then Shake Milton or Melton to fill out a starting team for the finals. We'll be okay. We'll be okay.
I was thinking, I don't like to do it that way because if we're playing for like Boston finals, I don't want to play it with like the back end pieces. So like my mind goes play front end pieces of a bad team and hope for an upset. So like I would have gone like Dimwitty, Bridges, Claxton on this team, or I would have gone like Trey, DeJounte. You get what I'm saying?
Because I do. I just have like no faith in those teams actually making the finals.
I agree. It's a way more shoot the moon strategy than what we're implementing right now.
Yeah, I think maybe your EV is much less, or you're much less likely to get 100K building out like this. But it is such a unique team that it gives you outs to like advancing uniquely, and maybe we get across unique pieces that like have really really low advance rates. I think that's what makes this like tournament so fun, is you never really know like who's going to be like super hard to get across. Like
Right.
maybe the Bucks, if they're, any team sweeps, and now it's like, holy crap, like how'd you get those through? Well, like I was an idiot and I stacked KD and LeBron on the same team, and and now I'm sitting pretty.
I think we're in a pretty good spot here to make the Derek White bet. I think he's by far my favorite of the remaining Celtic options to go that route.
Hmm. I think so too. uh
Like just in terms of like if there's a dude who can fill it up one night in like almost all the peripheral categories, and if there's the biggest benefactor of a potential Tatum and Jalen Brown or injury situation, it's Derek White, not Brogdon for me.
hmm I agree. And
Um,
so I'm gonna suggest something crazy here. We can
yeah.
give ourselves outs for a Lakers Boston finals by taking D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's crazy because my eyes went there as well. I'm just addicted to Trey, and now that I
I know,
know
so am I.
now that I know we're gonna get a minimum of 4 games from Trey, like, and we have 2 Boston pieces with that little kind of like pace up correlation spot. Like, who correlates better? Like the back end Celtics guys who might be playing some of those tail minutes while the Jays sit, and all of a sudden Trey is still out there running it because it's the playoffs. I'm just like
Yeah,
gal braining into like how we can correlate some points in the first round
I don't
of
think that's
like
a bad way to think about like in general, but with this team, like in my opinion, like KD is like he's like our first round savior. We drafted
right.
KD to like be the one team that took KD and didn't build Suns. And and he's going to help us get across the finish line is kind of my thought here. So Trey is like doesn't like, and we can still do Dinwiddie later as a guard piece, you know.
Yeah, I think I, I'm gonna keep my words to myself right here.
Okay. So right now we don't have a full finals team for any scenario yet, but we have 4 players for Celtics Lakers, and we have 4 players for Memphis and Celtics.
Yes.
I mean, technically we have 5, but we can only start 4, um, because of the wing position, which it would be in our favor at this point for the Lakers and Celtics to get there, because we could fill out a full roster depending on how we end this draft.
Double Minnesota or double Raptors.
So you're cool with not putting 5 on a
Yeah,
finals?
I think so.
Let's go double Raptors just in case they win.
Yeah. I
Like,
think going double Raptors is just kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
no, no,
Uh
it's,
now
it's
that
cool.
Now the question is, we only have 2 bigs and they're like kind of sus.
Yeah,
So like we could go the Jakob route, but I don't know if he scores enough raw points to matter. It'll definitely be unique. Or we could just go ahead and tack on a 5th guard.
let's do Freddie. Let's go for like raw points, and yeah, let's do it that way. And let's just, so the scenario here, I think most likely that like we would like to be realistic, like I don't think the Raptors are making the finals. That those
Right.
picks are
Yeah.
for first round equity. Our our hope is that like Celtics and Grizzlies make it. The Jays play like shit, and the Grizzlies just light it up with the players that we have, and like we can squeak out like a top 5 team here.
It's
I don't think playing for top 5 in a tournament where top 5 can get you $12,000 is like an awful scenario.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously not optimal because we always want to play for like first or last, in my opinion. But when the room gives you like a certain avenue and like you then have to deviate on the fly, I think you do have to think through of like how your equity has changed within the given draft and just be like, hey man, maybe this one we just admit the fact that it's not going to win the whole thing and we're just gonna go with that.
Hmm.
Um Let's go ahead and you want to do WAP?
Let's do WOB because there's no ADP,
Let's do it. Yeah.
which is a lot
Um
of fun.
yeah, let's I want to reset just for my my brain for a second. Here is yeah, they're 4-person drafts today, which is cool.
Yeah, 4-person draft, no ADP. Uh, we got T-Box in here. I wonder,
Naturally.
of course. So this guy at the front, if you're watching, I'm sorry, Mr. Chris Fat Packs. That's a sick name.
That is a sick name.
Let's Mr. Fat Packs here doesn't have a badge, so I'm not sure how often he drafts, and I'm not sure if he's going to like make a his own decisions here or if he's going to go BI. And if he goes BI, I would bet everything I have that T Box goes Shea because I think
Yeah.
Shea is most everybody's 101
Mhm.
who has an inkling of strategy here.
Yeah, I agree. For what it's worth, Stochastic has all 3 of the Chicago guys projected for the exact same number.
That is such a cop out. That
I
is such
know.
a cop
It's just
out.
you want to take median mean projections to the nth degree. Hey, let's just all fucking rank them the same,
Fuck it.
right? Like it's just
That is straight up. That is literally
so
just throwing your
funny.
hands up in the air and be like, "You make the
Uh,
call, paid subscribers." I'm just joking. I'm just joking,
uh,
but it is pretty funny. There, see, there we go.
there, boom, SGA. Yeah. So hey, just word to the wise that there's a bit of leverage right now if you want to start ripping some of these and you're going to get in these non-badged rooms and stuff because SGA is definitively the 101 today. Could it blow up in our faces? Yeah, of course. Interesting to see DMC, good player in his own right, is pushing up Siakam there. We can go double Chicago here. I like CJ in a vacuum. I like Fred Van Fleet tonight. Who do you prefer?
I would go with I want to say McCollum so bad.
Yeah, me too, actually. Okay, let's go CJ. Let's go CJ, and then let's take who's your favorite of the Chicago tonight if you just take a stand.
Um, it's it's Levine, but that feels wrong. That feels wrong.
It's funny because I kind of think Levine as well, but then I just my bro science brain just goes Raptors let DeMar DeRozan go. DeMar DeRozan was promised to like finish his career alongside Kyle Lowry in Toronto. Those two are going
Yeah,
to be the piece. DeRozan or the Raptors go on to win a championship because of that trade that they made to get rid of DeRozan. Now DeRozan comes back there and just puts it on them tonight.
yeah, yeah.
It,
That's
it,
I mean the bro science is so strong there, but I just keep thinking like anytime that you think it's like a DeRozan versus Levine slate, it's actually the opposite.
right.
Almost every time. That's what my gal brain. I'm dealing
Yeah.
with like the fake nerd and then the fake bro science just like constantly butting heads. And it's kind of interesting. DMC goes giddy over all the Chicago guys. I think that
Mhm.
that's definitely viable.
Yeah, actually, I had it pulled up. I'll do it in a second here. I didn't have the pace stuff and I wasn't ready to jump in the daily stuff
Mhm.
just quite yet. Um, yeah, here Nick's right. Nick's right in the shot here. So all this Levine to Rosa
That's
just means
great.
it's a Vooch night.
That's so true.
I think in a vacuum, Vooch has the worst matchup. I like Trey a lot tonight. I don't think I like Trey as much with CJ, but we're gonna have to double
I think
up
it's
at
okay.
some spots.
They have the
With
higher
no
total.
Raptors on this, I think like we just bet that it's the puddle game.
Okay. And
That
then
like that one makes sense to me. Like that he hasn't been playing a ton recently. Like I think they just know what's going on and like they knew inevitably that they're going to be the 9 and now we're going to see him ramp back up to those minutes we were seeing, 2.5 weeks ago. I kind of like pairing OG because it's kind of like
love OG.
If you want the stocks ceiling of Toronto, because we know what they do with that rotation, right? We know Nurse is just going to go 35 minutes for 6 guys, right? And it's going to be Gary Trent off the bench, and it's going to be 35 minutes for 6 guys, and any one of them can get home tonight. Like, that's genuinely how I feel. And I kind of think the best matchups are the 2 guys we drafted. With Jakob and OG compared to like the remainder of the Raptors, like relative to ADP and price tag.
Yeah, I think there's a case to be made that Pat Bev and Alex Caruso can like give Freddie VanVleet fits, like for sure.
Jalen with a Y, that's less desirable.
Yeah, I don't know that he's gonna. I like him, but I don't know that he's gonna get run today.
What about Dario Saric getting some run?
How
Isaiah
has
Joe
he been?
Fill it up? Not really.
Is Patrick Williams? No, Patrick has only been playing out of necessity. Let's do Joe. Joe will get play, and then I think maybe Pat Bev or Alex Caruso from here.
Yeah, I kind of agree because you just know they're going to be on the court. I tend to just like Pat Bev more as a player, and I think he's like more versatile in terms of his ability to score versus like Caruso's. I think Caruso's like glorified Matthew Dellavedova. Yeah, like the parallels between those two seem like very similar. Yeah, it's kind of funny because like Chicago basically has 2 of the exact same player in Caruso and Bev, but
I know, right?
Bev is just kind of like the veteran, better one at it,
Yeah, they're not like terribly built. It's kind of interesting. If you squint at a lot of these like East teams, it's like they could make a run. Like they can make a run. It's just like the X factors on the top, on the big 3 in the East. That's just like that just feels so insurmountable. But there's some good teams in the East, man.
Let's rip one more of those because those are quick and those are fun, and let's just hope T-Box isn't in all of them.
Yeah, right.
He will be.
Yeah, it's spoiler alert.
Oh no! Yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
He must be tapping like as we speak. Maybe I don't know. Like I don't know how that happened.
But, he's not tapped into the auto draft tool yet. Hey, Brett Boy's running alongside us tonight, where we both need Val. He needs Val. Sorry, but he's got OG and Val team there for a sweat. You love to see that.
Nice.
There were a couple things in the chat to go back on here. Phil Sims, great screen name. Why do you think lowering the max entries evens the playing field? It doesn't necessarily. Like just in terms of like the teams in which you create comparative to like the pros or whatever, they'll probably still be building more optimal teams. But I do think it gives you just like a more fighting chance than in NBA Streets, where every combination of everything is covered. Whereas here in like lower samples, that it introduces like more variance because the pros in quotations can't have all those combinations just covered.
Exactly,
right?
Especially in baseball.
Yeah, so like you see last night happen where it's just like a Chicago onslaught 5-man stack wins the thing and goes like off to win the first couple of spots. But if there were limited entries, those probably wouldn't be existing in such a strong fashion because it changes the play style, right? I think we go ahead and we take Siakam here and CJ.
Let's do Siakam first, and then let's like talk about this for a second because that Giddy pick felt really smart.
Oh, you want to scroll the F down, huh?
I do.
You want to tempt me with a good time, huh?
I think Giddy is up. Like the range of outcomes is equal to everybody else that's left. Josh Giddey in a must-win game. I want that. I want some of that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you're the resident Giddy guy, so
I guess I am. Huh?
Yeah. Dare we say you're giddy for Giddy?
Hey, shout out to DMC. I haven't seen DMC a lot in the streets. I don't know that he's like heavy on baseball, but he took down one of the OG 50K battle royales in the NFL.
Yeah.
Whenever they used to be 50K, so he must just be like resting on his laurels and now dipping his toes back in the streets. Chad made it. I thought you were in a meeting, man. I'm glad you're here.
This is a poor man's Bev. It's true.
I mean, like
It's
97 cents on the dollar, like
That's fair.
you know what I mean? Like it's
That's
not
fair.
like it's not that much of a discount there. Pat Bev doesn't offer too much to begin with.
Yeah, Chris Vatstax needs to be part of the community because that's an absolute name. I fully agree. There was one more in here that there was two more I wanted to address. Last year's winning team, 5-man that had to fill it out. It's posted in the Discord there. If you join the Discord and check that out. It was 3, 2, and a bunch of one-offs is what it was. I think it was 3 Celtics, 2 Warriors, and then like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That was the team that took it down last year.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I didn't obviously didn't make it to the finals, so I couldn't see it. But that
Chip
is like pretty
posted
interesting.
He posted it in the Discord.
Scotty Barnes.
I kind of feel like just being an ADP bro here. Yeah, like Scotty Barnes feels like a tier bump above here. I wanted to talk about Joval for a second because the Larry Nance Q tag, I don't know if it's real or not. It's like the postseason. He's been banged up like all year long. Then we saw the rotation flip. Joval has kind of been like their starter now, and we know what he can do, like fantasy points per minute style. Do you like Trey here? I
think so. I think so. I mean, I love OG and I love Jalen Williams, but I think.
What if we just do a little stack job?
Okay. I was going to say, like, you could talk me into stacking or you could talk me into, like, this is my one-off.
Let's see what happens. There we go.
Yeah. Just because, like, I mean, yeah, like, it could be like, oh, wow, like, I didn't think to draft 2 Thunder and 2 Toronto guys. But I do think, like, a one-off, like, Trey Murphy is the one you need from the Pelicans is a good thesis here.
Yeah. I like that because if you're looking at guys who can get hot and guys who can just fill it up and score raw points quickly, he's just kind of fits that mold. And for a contest that's like only 4 people getting drafted and only 4 teams playing, that's kind of the archetype of a player you want to be taking shots on, like just high variance, right? The Larry Nance point was just like, we know what Larry Nance can be from a fantasy point per minute. But what that does for Joval, if he doesn't play, like if he's legit like Q tag, legit like hurt, and he's not even a factor in the rotation, even if Joval gets a little early foul trouble, like he's prone to do, and Joval's just forced to stay out there, they go like, hey man, this is the play-in game, we're going to force him to play kind of deal. Joval could be like the most undervalued piece in terms of ADP right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a really good shout because like you said, he's just a fantasy point per minute monster. I would probably like, where would you put him with the like Chicago guys? Or I guess, hold on, let's make this pick here. This is ugly.
Yeah, it does get ugly.
Is it what if you call an Andre Drummond's game?
Oh my God. You want to talk about fantasy point per minute monsters? If Andre Drummond somehow gets like big run in this game because Vooch is in foul trouble, like he breaks the slate. Period.
Straight up, like
he straight up breaks the slate.
Yeah, like 10 boards with like 3 blocks, and next thing you know, like no one, like what if no one else touches that?
Yeah, Clint Capella's 21 boards last night.
Yeah.
I kind of want to scroll down here and click Aaron Wiggins' name. Chad had some nice things to say about Wiggins playing over Isaiah Joe in games that mattered for a bit there. This team's weird as hell, and I love it. We skipped over that middle Chicago tier just so we could call a Drummond game and somehow find our way to 25 points from Aaron Wiggins in the 6th round.
That's great.
Team sucks. All right.
I want to remember that whenever I squint at the leaderboard, I'm like, oh, John's got a sweat, and like, oh shit, it's Andre Drummond with 25 boards.
Could you imagine? What if Andre Drummond is the guy you need? But hey, if you're not playing volume in a contest like this, the players in which you could potentially need are going to be much weirder than the field is currently giving credit to, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, nobody nobody would expect that Kyle Lowry was the guy you needed in the 6th round last night on the 2-game slate or
No.
on the 4-game slate. I guess it's applicable to both, but still. Um yeah. Okay, there was one more in the chat here I wanted to address. We talked about the team from last year, Boston Warriors. There was one more. I swear I see it somewhere. Oh, here, Nez, I want to ask you this. We talked a little bit on Pete's stream yesterday about this one. The sweep versus the 7 games affect your decisions in terms of building out stacks. And for me, I think the biggest takeaway from yesterday was if you're building out those top teams, you're going to need kind of more of these auxiliary one-off guys to push them through, right? So if you're building out the big sweep candidates in, I would say, in Denver and Milwaukee, going 5 deep on those stacks feels really, really hard to push those lineups through. They look sexy on paper, but 5 from the same team feels damn near impossible to push through.
Yeah, I think so. If you're doing volume, you need to just like do a combination of both of these things. And because we don't know, like we don't
Right.
know for certain that like one team sweeps and one team's gonna have 7 games. Like that's what makes these contests really hard. Is we don't know who's gonna sweep and who doesn't. One of these auxiliary pieces that we think are gonna give us 7 games could end up sweeping or getting swept. That's definitely in the range of possibilities. So I wouldn't build every single Bucks team or every single Nuggets team as if they're going to sweep, because if somebody builds it out and assumes that they're not going to sweep, they're going to get a lot more guys through than like you did because you were playing it too safe. So I think the cop out answer is like do both because you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you could just look as close to the play-in games yesterday. Like we were all over that. Like, oh, Heat's gonna walk all over Atlanta. They're gonna play them tough, and then the Heat are gonna play the Celtics. We just knew that. And look at the ADPs of Butler and Bam for the last month, and we kind of like cemented that in stone. And in a 1-game sample, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, this is sports. Right. And it's just like anything can happen and it's not played on a spreadsheet. So it's just funny to think about is as much as we look at this and we just go like, yeah, Denver is like for sure going to sweep somebody because it doesn't matter out of the Pels, OKC or Minnesota there, nobody's winning more than 1 game against Denver. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like, did you see how good Anthony Edwards and Cat looked last night? Imagine if Gobert's out there with them, right? I mean, apart from the team turnovers, and then Mike Conley is filling it up from 3. You let that guy get hot alongside that. Maybe Slow-Mo becomes that guy for 1 game. They could steal 2, 3. All of a sudden, oh my God, it's 3-2 going back to Minnesota for 1, right?
I think if Minnesota would be the biggest headache, that's what you should be rooting for if you're stacking Nuggets as Minnesota. I will say, like, Ant didn't look good last night.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, Chad's gonna call you out.
Actually, I saw. All to be fair, he looked good in that sick block on Rui at the rim. That's all that was going through my mind. I live my life in Instagram highlight reels in my head. Ant played well last night because he blocked the shit out of Rui at the rim. That's my takeaway.
So if we get if Anthony, I think, and I do, a lot of people think like, and I saw Chad have this take, and I saw other folks have this take too, that Anthony Edwards seems like he was like almost certainly playing hurt. Hopefully, like that can change and he can get healthier. And because I think that the as far as like the rankings goes, who I want to see in the 8th seed, it's Timberwolves, then Thunder, and then Pelicans.
Yeah, Polychip's saying something similar here. I think a lot of people like that. Yeah, it's interesting that you list Pelicans at the bottom of that. I do tend to agree. I think I'm kind of scared that I don't have enough SGA. Haven't been thinking far enough down this SGA.
Train he could be a skeleton key. Like if they, I really think the Thunder could like take it to 5 or 6 games with the Nuggets. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
Give me,
just like me being like too
give me
daily focused, but
give me that Canadian guards matchup. Give me that Jamal Murray versus SGA and let my American brethren enjoy some great Canadian basketball in the playoffs.
I tell you what, man, these first round dailies are going to be electric to draft.
They are going to be fun. They're going to be.
There's
I'm
so
very
many good
excited
matchups.
for. I'm very excited for the daily slates associated with the playoff stuff because you guys know how I am. I like my daily contest more than I like my season long stuff or even my playoff long stuff. Even though I love to draft them, but I just like the instantaneous of the daily stuff. And these NBA slates are setting up to be real fun.
Oh yeah.
I already know I'm going to be overweight Trey and Mikal Bridges in the
Yeah.
first East slate.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I think that, like you said, like maybe it's time, and maybe it might be too early. Maybe you do this on Friday if the Thunder get in, but it's gonna be like SGA is gonna be taking the place of Trey for me soon if he gets in.
I like that. I think that's a good shout because yeah, Trey's kind of been our default one off, back end one off or two off if you want to mix in DeJounte there, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a really sharp point.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
I hope
this
they get
is.
in. Oh wow,
There you
Chad,
go.
I thought you'd be a super vet. That's awesome. I mean, it took me like
Yeah,
over like I think 2 years to get my red badge.
GA feeling similarly there, where it's the playoff dailies that get people in. I fully agree. The playoff
Hmm.
dailies they're just so much more fun. They hit different.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead, jump in the baseball slate. Maybe rapid fire like 2 drafts here and call it a day.
yeah. I
And we'll do
got
some
a
more
dentist
baseball stuff.
appointment coming up.
Man, are you clean right now? Are you a floss guy? You get electric toothbrush and floss guy or what?
Electric toothbrush, water pick, and
Oh,
and a placker.
That's the least surprising development I've ever heard in my whole life. Like, you just seem like that straight and narrow. Like, you show up to the dentist and they're like, "Fucking Nez is here. This is going to be a good day." Like
Easy.
the hygienist is like, "Yo, my scaling job, it's going to be 15 minutes instead of 35 because I know Nez is coming in." It doesn't. Look
For
at those
whatever, yeah,
beautiful white jibs.
but for whatever reason, yeah, my chiclets. But for whatever reason, my gums, I got swollen gums, so they got to do something about my gums. They're a little swollen, so I don't know what's going on there. A little gingivitis. Maybe it's IPAs aren't too good for you. I don't know.
Oh yeah, the old hops getting
Yeah,
getting below the gum line.
I can't get them out.
Yeah, yeah. It's all that chew at the ballpark.
Yeah, right.
We got a 6-game on the main slate. It starts 3:35, which is 6:35 Eastern for the rest of the world. There, so a little bit earlier than the 4:10s and the 4:05s we've been getting recently. As we alluded to earlier, no Coors, no Wrigley, but we have been blessed with beautiful weather conditions yet again. But none of the big outlying wind is going to play a big factor in these games are necessarily on this main slate. They're kind of all on the morning and day game stuff. The only one that really plays a factor for us is at San Francisco, but at San Francisco wind, and this is just kind of an evergreen statement, at San Francisco wind, you can never take at face value compared to everybody else because it's a ballpark that suppresses wind.
Exactly.
Because it's built to be right on the water. It's built to have heavy wind all the time. So when you see 10 miles per hour blowing out at San Francisco, it is completely different than 10 miles per hour blowing straightaway center at Great American or at Wrigley or something like this. I don't think there's any large favorable conditions today for the MLB slate.
No, not for our main slate, which is nice. You don't have to worry about these sneaky variables to have to bake into your projections and whatnot. So that's really helpful. A lot of it makes sense. There's I don't know if you're familiar with red flag warnings, but that's basically like burn bans. Like there's a drought essentially across the U.S. and that kind of checks out if you think about it because one, balls are flying out of parks right now. Like,
Yeah, are they
run
ever?
environments are insane right now. We have had like no rain concerns yet. We've been playing baseball for like 10 days. So I mean, it all makes sense, like why
Yeah.
everything is the way it is. But yeah, so everywhere is great conditions. And I will also say, just transitioning to the matchups themselves, not a lot of
Mhm.
like overwhelmingly insanely favorable matchups.
Mhm.
I would say just off top, Orioles rank the most favorable for me. I see we have like the totals here.
Yep.
I like the Orioles today versus a lefty. That always matches up pretty well for their bats outside of Mullins.
Yeah, and last time out for I can't remember the kid's name right now. It was like his second start ever.
Kyle Muller?
Oh, it's Muller today?
No,
Oh, I
today is
had somebody
Waldichuk.
else. Yeah, it's Waldachuk today. Okay, there
Mhm.
we go. Waldachuk's outing last time out, he got absolutely shellacked by the Rays.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, everybody's getting hammered by the Rays right now, but
Mhm.
just if you watched any bit of Baltimore last night, they put up heavy numbers. Mountcastle had 2 home runs and 9 RBIs. Um, yeah, I like that shout a lot, but I do like your overarching view of the slate where it is kind of just like it's kind of flat, and that kind of makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot of fun in terms of who you can go after. There is the outlier of pitcher with Strider on the slate that you will see this heavy suppressed total for the Reds. If you want to go that route with the super leverage and hope that it is the one night this season that that Strider gets lit up, I mean, weirder things have happened, right? It's
Yeah.
baseball. Um, First thing to note for me on the slate, just in terms is pitching looks. We
It's
said like kind of like the bats and stuff are flat. Pitching looks like there's kind of like this one big tier at the top,
100%.
something like this with Spencer Strider, Gossman, Kershaw, and Green. And then it becomes very mix and match after that. Taj Bradley is making his third ever big league start. I think both of the first two were just like 1 or 2 innings. He has been stretched out now. He's a pretty good prospect. I'm not
Very.
sure versus Boston is your first spot you ever want to start him. Sale versus Murderer's Row of righties at the front end of that lineup in Tampa that is so hot right now feels very scary. Nate Eovaldi and Alex Cobb are kind of where I'm going to be throwing darts opposed to those two. Do you feel differently there, Nez?
I think I'm going to give Brad Keller some looks.
Okay.
He's The Royals, I think, have like turned a bit of a corner in their pitching development, and I think they could just be running hot and getting lucky, but I think they might have something here on top of the fact that they're in Globe Life, and it's more of like it's not a super hitter friendly park, and Corey Seager is like almost certainly about to hit the IL with a hamstring strain, so
Mm-hmm.
Keller shouldn't be facing like a super tough matchup with one less lefty to have to face. So I think I might give him looks late if I have to. I will say, just like a peek behind the bat, I won't like obviously give like the whole goods away, but it's interesting that Cardi does not think the Rays are like a favorable matchup against Chris Sale. We just talked about
Interesting.
how I mean, Waldichuk and Sale are not the same, but Waldichuk is a lefty, and I think you would rather be a righty facing the Rays than a lefty because of a Rosarena and uh,
Yandy Diaz, Isak Paredes.
Paredes, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to be anybody facing the Rays, honestly, but
Right.
being a lefty, I don't think is like super favorable. But Cardi thinks that Sale will fare pretty well against the Rays today, so that's interesting. That might be my one bet against the projections, and I think most people that don't go off projections would also think like, oh wow, yeah, Sale's going to get lit up. So I'm wondering what the Cardi Bros will do today with that information.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I think that's where our process in like the IKB knowledge of baseball comparative to other sports in where we can deviate versus the projections really comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Actually, I'm interested to look at some of these lineups today. It's a shame that this Coors game isn't on the slate. I've stacked
Oh,
the shit out of this Coors game for 2 straight days, and I mean, the gas can of all gas cans at Coors is on the mound today.
Dude,
Um,
it is like unconscionable that like Jose Arena is a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball.
uh-huh.
It's like even more so for the call, like the call. There's people that get paid for the Rockies. Okay, they sit down, they look at their spreadsheets, they look at who's available. Hey, why don't we give Jose Arena a call? Why don't we put him on the mound at Coors Field? Like, what do you think? Should we?
Yeah.
Is that a good idea? Like, are you dumb? Are you dumb? You're a rebuilding team and you sign Jurickson Profar. You don't trade CJ Crone. You sign Chris Bryant. Literally just like the most brain dead organization in sports. It's insane. They signed. It's crazy.
Well, they've been renowned for this for a long time for signing these like kind of like middling veterans to block their own rookies who then just never come to fruition. I mean, they did it to Brendan Rodgers forever. They did it to Sam Hilliard till he had to get traded.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he got released then signed.
Case
But
in point.
they've literally done this for everyone that's come across. There's a couple other good examples that are slipping my mind right now of guys who were like who was the speedy center fielder / infielder? Oh, this is gonna drive me crazy. 2 years ago.
I know who you're thinking of it, and I can't.
Oh my god. Not Sam Hilliard, the other one. Oh god, this is gonna drive me crazy that I can't think of this right now because I drafted this dude every single year in fantasy.
I know exactly. It's gonna piss me off. I'm gonna look it up, but yeah, the Rockies are just like absolutely just like a dog shit organization.
Yeah. Shout out Chip is going to be at the Phillies game, so adjust, baby. Adjust.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, David Dahl. There's another one.
Yeah, I was thinking
who I
David
was thinking
Dahl.
of. That's not who I was thinking of, but that's another one. David
Garrett
Dahl.
Hampson?
Yes, Garrett Hampson. Yeah.
yeah, fantasy baseball darling.
Yeah, Garrett Hampson. There we go. Thank you so much. I can now breathe. But yeah, just crazy to see them just repeat. Like, what's the definition of insanity? Like repeating the same process over and over again.
That's the cliche. That's not the real definition, but that's the cliche. Yeah, doing the same thing over and over again. I will say Zach Veen. Once Zach Veen makes the show, I will be all over Zach Veen though. That's one that they absolutely got right.
Actually checked out Zach Veen in single A last year and went to a couple ball games. Hey, there's another one. Brett Boy with another one. Ramel Tapia.
Yeah.
Like just guys that you thought were going to be something coming up at Coors, got roadblocked, never really got a fair shot, and then just went somewhere else. Got traded, got out. Like, look at that trade for Tapia. Like, I'm not saying, Randall Grichuk is probably in a vacuum a better baseball player than Ramel Tapia is or will ever be. Mm-hmm. That could be a good trade. They ate some salary to do something like that. But you traded Ramel Tapia because, like, I mean, the Blue Jays were needy for a defensive outfielder that was left-handed. Yeah, it was kind of like a perfect marriage in that. But like Ramel Tapia, like, what are we doing here? Like, this guy could have been something in this league in Coors. Like, he could have hit 310 in Coors with 15 bombs and 30 steals, but nobody gave him a chance, and they roadblocked him, and they never let him hit against lefties, and they platooned the shit out of him with the likes of aging, veterans, a la Connor Joe,
Yeah. It's just so silly. I just don't understand them at all.
Okay, yeah, we kind of went a tangent there about that. That's fun. Yeah, but boost to Chip is going to be at the Phillies game. Numi is at the Minnesota or the Twins game. Those are instant boosts to bats. Instant boost to bats.
If you want another boost, boost, I'm going back to the well. I'm going to Globe Life today, and I'm going to see
going too.
I'm going to see my Royals. I'm going to cosplay as a Royals fan today. I have a Royals jersey and a Royals hat because I was former KC resident for years, so I earned that right. So I'm gonna go, and I'm in the same spot. Tickets are significantly cheaper today because DeGrom isn't on the mound, but I'm in that same spot, getting my complimentary beer. We're gonna have a great time.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, that one's applicable to the slate now. And and now contrary to what people would think, they'd be like, "Oh, he's going to Globe Life. That's a boost for Rangers sticks." No. Nez is wearing the Royals gear. Former resident for one calendar year, Bobby Witt night.
Bobby Witt night, Vinny Pasquatch night. Let's go.
Oh, I like it. All right,
Let's go.
let's draft some of these.
Okay, I'm itching now.
um.
And the roof's open. They're opening the roof.
Okay.
That's a boost to bats. Anytime that a place with the roof opens the roof, it's always good for the bats.
Good
I
call.
believe that's a good rule of thumb. I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I need to check up on my Pirates, see how we're doing. We got Rich Hill on the mound versus the Jordanless Astros because Jordan's too afraid to face Rich Hill.
Oh, Influencer 101.
You already know. Shout out Derek Barty with the red badge. That might be the quickest red badge I've ever seen earned in Underdog history.
Other than me.
You did get yours really fast.
Yeah, Derek Barty, what a great name, and just showed up in the baseball streets like 3 weeks ago. And now
it was such a meme
up.
name. Like that name, nobody will get that name outside of the baseball streets. Like even people in the baseball streets won't even get it. And like it's if you know, you know. Also, shout out Svi over at the 106. Svi hopped in a draft with my dad today with me and Coach Nez. He made me give a shout out to him and his boys because he's got a group chat. It's called Wannabe Badge Bros. And they're always sending me little 4-man private drafts, and I go in there and I take their money every day. And so they're like, and they're asking me, how do I get a badge? Like, why is ADP so weird? I think, I mean, I would say Acuna, right? I mean, Riley Green's fun, but he throws so hard, he gets hit so hard.
Hunter Green, but yes,
sorry,
it does just feel. It feels like not the ideal spot. It just feels like a classic scenario of best player on the slate. I think the front end of these drafts should look the exact same for the first 3 picks. It should be some combination of these 3, depending how you see fit. And then it's kind of like, do whatever the fuck you want, honestly.
The Blue Jays are up against Eduardo Rodriguez, who's a good pitcher, but he's a lefty. And being a lefty against the Blue Jays is like one of the worst scenarios you can find yourself in. So that makes sense. Can you, when you get a chance, when you go back to the draft board, can you just search Mountcastle's name so we can look at his box score from yesterday and see what the fantasy points were?
Oh, yeah, sure, for sure.
I don't know if you saw, he had a goddamn day yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 2 homers and 9 RBIs.
Yeah.
That's
like 56. Like a pitcher will never. A pitcher could. I might do some calculations.
You could throw a perfect game. You could throw
with like 27 Ks.
With 27 Ks, and you still wouldn't come close to that.
Yeah. Can you just search his name? I just want to see what it looks like on the box score.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Mountcastle. Okay, you know what's crazy? 1 single, 2 home runs, 2 runs scored, 9 RBIs. Not as good a day as that Adam Duvall 50 burger.
Holy shit, you're right.
Which is crazy.
RT99 did it again yesterday, by the way, in one of the smaller slates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And some dude, and some dude in the main slate yesterday took it down top 4 with fucking Nelson Velasquez for the Cubs.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that one with the contrarian stack. I did see that. I think it makes too much sense to just try and run this stack right now, and just start like this. I mean, you could twist my arm in that maybe Riley comes back, or we can do something else after, and then we take Kershaw here and get ahead of the pitcher cliff.
I would say Kershaw personally.
Okay, let's do it. I mean, I guess a full stack versus Hunter Green isn't exactly what we want to target, but on a 6-game slate, it makes a good amount of sense.
Yeah, I mean, you set yourself up for it. Hunter Green walks a lot of guys. Hunter Green gives up a lot of hard contact. He's great, but he's a bit of a gas can.
He's a 3 true outcomes pitcher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You know, because he throws the ball so damn hard. When guys hit it, they hit it so damn hard, right? Like we saw it with O'Neal Cruz, right?
Yeah. Game 1, just sent that shit on a rocket. I do
Soto just hit the bridge.
Oh boy,
that's fun. Yeah, imagine that it's Cardi.
It probably is.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah, line of scrimmage. We've been talking about this one a little bit there. Yeah, I would love to implement everything I did from the poker streets of like the rake races, the tiered pro levels, the this sort of thing. I would love to be the person that implemented that all on Underdog and
Yeah.
designed the program as to how this would all look and work and the benefits of it, just in terms of a little bit of rake back, a little bit of notoriety with your screen name or your name change color, your badge change color, your new accessories. If you win a baseball
Mm,
thing, you get X. If you win something else, you get Y. Just all these little intricacies that you could do with. But I mean, at the end of the day, we know this about Underdog is that the daily drafts don't necessarily, we are their favorite users. It does not necessarily move the financial needle like a ton for them.
yeah.
Um,
Paredes for me. I mean, he just
okay.
stands out. I mean, if you just want to add him to the queue, I don't know.
I was
Seager
kind of
is not
thinking of
playing.
going the Bobby Witt route and
Okay.
going like a little KC here.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's get weird with this and scroll down a little bit. The problem being that if we're going to do the KC, I think it's a 2-man, not a 3-man, because they don't really have any outfielders to add to the stacks.
They
It's
don't.
always Witt, Melendez, and whatever. So I kind of like a one-off Cedric Mullins here
Okay.
as just kind of like a tier break in talent. Um, Very interesting stuff with Cedric Mullins. We talked about the potential scare of platooning.
And they haven't.
He, yeah, they haven't platooned him yet, but they've done the first step, and the second worst thing they could do is they've moved him to the bottom of the order against lefties. So that a lefty started yesterday and he hit ninth. It's getting a little scary for that aspect of Cedric Mullins, and it was part of the thesis when he was in the third round. Yes, he can look elite at times. Yes, he can look insane good leading off, and he's a great baseball player. Those fences moving in a little bit, moving out a little bit and a bit higher, that suppressed a little bit of the power last year, and then we saw it toward the tail end of last year. They got some good righty sticks that they want to get in the lineup over him on certain days versus lefties. That's a little scary, right?
Yeah, not
Um,
ideal.
yeah. Okay, well, your boy Isak is still there. We could do a 2-man Atlanta with 3 one-offs and just be like, this is the guy you need to homer from that.
Him or
Or
Outman?
we could do,
I'm a
well,
one
I,
off.
I wanted to
Oh,
do, I want to do
okay.
this or this. So
Okay.
do you want the Paredes one-off or do you want the stack?
Salvi's due. He hasn't really like homered this year. I don't know that he has. Maybe I think maybe like once or twice.
I think he homered once. Yeah.
Yeah, he's due. I would, but if I'm in here, I would mix in definitely Melendez and Vinny P as well. I hope Underdog with their positions, they are at the mercy of the stat provider. MJ
Mhm.
Melendez might not catch a single game this year, and he
Yeah.
plays outfield every day. If we
Mhm.
can get an outfield eligibility on him, that would be fantastic for the player pool and for stacking purposes for the Royals.
It would make the Royals so much more fun
Mm-hmm.
because now you really have to force it with Edward Olivares, and that's only versus lefties when he's hitting second.
Yeah, like I don't want to take Olivares. I don't want to take Kyle Isbell. Like Jesus,
Right.
no.
Yeah, like Kyle Isbell's always going to be buried no matter what. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's going to be buried. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to go back to the to like the next level of sickoness. Like, I think they would be very much in their best interest to do that, especially when you have BBM4 coming back out and more people are in the lobbies again. So there's more like opportunities to flex on other people. Like you said, name colors, that would be dope. Different accessories would be dope. And I will even say this. If and when that stuff rolls out, don't don't like retrofit it, right? Be like, oh, if you qualify for this in the past, you get it. Like, no, like make us
Yeah.
earn it. Make us
Make
earn
it
it
earn it.
again. Make it
Yes.
like you
I
like
like it.
the next time something rolls out, like, hey, you have to like it starts here. And then
Yeah.
like you could be the first one to get it because like it's brand new and
Mhm.
and no one
I think
has
it
it
would
yet.
do I think that's a really good point, and I think it would do wonders for the games just
It
in
would.
general. as well, because like, um,
I mean, dude,
do
you
you
see
want to do the Strider or do you want to do the Vlad?
Strider.
Okay, let's do the Strider and
And
then
you,
see what it looks like.
because you
Turn
see
off the
it in like
purple.
Fortnite, you see it in
That's
video
yeah.
games. People pay for
It's
skin, you know?
right. It is the play to earn model that makes all of these video games and all this stuff quote unquote addictive, right?
Hmm.
Like that's what makes these kids love this. Yeah. Like this, exactly right this.
Right.
Like we on so like context to like my past and stuff is on full tilt poker you could earn this like elite status, right? And then you got a black card. You got this thick big ass black card. You go to tournament sites, you could use it to go into places. You could, hey, look, I'm a certified like pro or whatever. And then the next evolution was it you could become a red label and a sponsored guy, and you'd get some kickbacks in your rake back. You would get a special screen name. Your avatar would turn from the normal monkey and ninja to a picture of you. So I had a little like picture of me and like this sort of thing. My name was in red, so everybody else knows like, oh, this guy's a pro. Like,
Hmm.
well, what if you just do little stuff like this, or you do like, hey, 1 week race, mandatory entry of 20 contests per day. Like today, I personally don't really feel like playing, and I have some personal shit to take care of. Right,
Right.
I would still get in 20 entries if I had to play 20 entries to maintain my status, to maintain my like that could work wonders for pushing the games
I think that's the
in
next
so many
step in
ways.
the evolution. It's going to
Mhm.
take them a second to get there, but I think they understand that like we want it. Just got to be
Mhm.
patient. Hopefully sooner than later. But
It feels fun to do Dodgers with Strider. That feels like something that might not be obtainable all day.
yeah,
It
I'm not
feels
scared of Alex Cobb versus Mookie.
Yeah, I also feel outfielder is much thinner on this slate than infielder. Just as like a macro level, if we look at elite outfielders,
Hmm.
like Austin Hayes he's been hot right now, but I mean it's basically four names,
Right.
right?
Let's take a
And
look
then
here.
Freddie gets sniped as we say that. I think for me right here it's Devers like a
Oh
lot.
yeah. Oh yeah. Devers
Um,
versus I mean Taj Bradley is nice, but he's a right-handed pitcher, so just give me that platoon.
mhm. And like, Tampa's not the greatest place to hit in the world, but the Rays have been making it work recently. So why can't Devers, who was scorching hot a week and a half ago or half a week ago, to come in and make it work for him, right?
Exactly. I want to see here. I'm trying to look at Ozuna because Ozuna usually has pretty favorable home run odds. He on DraftKings is plus 400 to homer. So if you want to like get, if you're looking for outfielders to fill out,
Hmm.
he
Okay.
seems pretty nice. And then let's take a look at the Rangers and Royals home run odds now that they're opening the roof. Bobby Witt is 475. MJ
Hmm.
Melendez is 400. Salvi is 340. So
Ooh,
they
I like
like
our bet.
the Royals today.
I like that. Yeah, that's good. Nate Eovaldi, kind of like the poor man's version of Spencer Strider in terms of like throw hard, get hit hard. Like or not Spencer Strider, Hunter Green, in terms of like the veteran version of like, hey man, yeah, he can wow and he can dazzle at times, but throw hard, get hit hard, right?
Exactly, always.
Yeah. Um, I think there's a damn near 0% chance that Corey Seager plays baseball today. Yesterday, another one, Dansby Swanson lifted yesterday. After it looked, I think it was hamstring related. He
I think they
basically
said
he got a
side
base
discomfort.
side discomfort. Okay, interesting.
Hmm.
He got a base hit. It was on in the background. I was visiting my parents for a bit there, and he got a base hit and then came out of the game after running the bases. Um, yeah, just didn't come back out defensively.
Hmm. Yeah, that would make you think hamstring. I would get
Mm-hmm.
that, but I thought I saw side.
No, I
Let's
trust you.
see here. So what's up with the Dean Kramer? He's a righty, right?
Yes.
Okay. Trying to find how cute we can possibly get with the mm, no,
I think
it looks
we
dire.
I think we go Rays here, and then
Yeah.
we and then we have a one-off outfielder late. Like
And you
if
could even twist my arm into Yoshida for a stack and an outfielder if he doesn't get
okay.
taken here,
Yeah, that's a good point too.
or
Yeah.
Verdugo later.
Yeah, lead off Verdugo. Verdugo's an interesting case because like Verdugo kind of fits the mold of players that I tend to fade in these kind of games. The Stephen Kwans,
Yeah,
the Brandon Nimmo's, the where if I'm trying to win a contest like this, I'm looking for pop and I'm looking for, who can be the outlier bat that hits 2 home runs
I
or
like him as
something.
oatmeal in my lineups.
Yeah.
I like just
Just
like,
two
hey,
different
let me
philosophies,
pencil
right?
in, yeah, let me pencil in like 10 Stephen
Yeah.
Kwan points here. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, this is an interesting one. The
ooh,
Supernova program was, yeah, I mean, I was Supernova Elite for like 3 years on Stars. And um, yeah, I mean, it was a very good program and we could implement some similarities to that into this community. Absolutely.
do you want JD
Um,
Martinez for the stack and an outfielder, or do you want
I think we
Yoshida or
can wait.
Paredes?
I think I want to take Isak now that we
Okay.
passed on him last time. And you kind of talked me into like how the Rays are the Rays
Oh,
right now.
I feel so
And
good. What do you think the average like ownership is for Isak in the Dinger?
17%.
17?
Yeah, you think that's high?
Like throughout the whole tournament?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I was thinking like I was looking more so like average.
Personal, average
Yeah.
personal profile ownership,
Yeah, where
2%.
where like how much?
2.
Okay. That makes
Yeah.
me feel good. I wish I
Yeah.
had more. I wish I had so much more. I mean everybody does, but like
Yeah.
that's a guy I was like really in on. I think I'm at like 12 on in the Dinger with one
Mhm.
perfect game share. Um yeah, he just looks fantastic. And he's starting to
Yeah.
hit again and he's starting to play against right-handed pitchers.
Mhm.
Oh man, it's wheels up. It's wheels
I
up.
like it.
I try that's going to be like probably like my biggest. I mean, hopefully, knock on wood, he stays healthy. But like my receipts victory lap was I tried to tell people,
Yeah.
Isak, man.
Yeah. I'm really hoping mine's gonna be the tool shed.
Yeah, he's looking good. That was a super clutch homer last night, and he's
Yeah.
good. And he's like the only one, only man standing in Chicago.
We are seeing something that happens in these games a good amount. Um, Yeah, and I'm not sure where I come out on it theoretically yet. I definitely build 5-man stacks on occasion. I do think their usage is overblown and it's a minus EV strategy over the course of an elongated sample. But like last night, it won. Shit, we were waiting on JD Martinez and he just
Yeah,
disappeared
I was
right
gonna
there.
say he's not coming back.
Okay, it was wishful thinking, huh? We could do Verdugo and get that the left-handers at the top of the order for Boston stack there. We could go another righty with a little bit of pop in Margot. Outman, I talked myself into.
I
I
think
talked
Verdugo
myself
here
into.
is just to like get some floor.
Yeah, I like that. I don't love lefty lefty for Outman.
Is it?
Just because it
Cobb's
is
a
right.
I thought it was Alex Cobb.
Oh, right. Sure. Sorry. I got my Alex's mixed up. It was Wood yesterday. It's Cobb today. Yep. You're right. Sorry.
Did
Um,
he go? He didn't go. I can't believe people keep sleeping on James Outman. Like,
yeah, he looks like he it's kind of what the thesis was. Do you have time for one more or should we call it there?
I gotta go.
Okay.
My appointment's in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, this is actually a fun idea. Dr. Flush coming in here. I was talking about this with my dad last
Ooh,
night, actually, thinking ways through because we were talking about I was talking about how it's so easy to max the basketball stuff and the golf stuff because you can just autopilot and you can do that sort of thing. And you can't really do that in hockey and whatever. And we talked about it on the show one time. How do you make the baseball experience for the casual user similar to that, or for the hardo auto drafter that can do that, so you eliminate correlation patterns?
right.
And this would be a very smart way of doing it. Super flex, not allowed to have two from each team, so the auto draft function would be like, oh, you already have a Brave. Okay, you can't have you bypass, go to the next guy. That could be a very, very fun thing. And then it's effectively just a bet on, who can find the most productive bats in a given night, who can find the most productive homers.
Mhm.
I don't
That is a
know.
good idea.
I don't know if it's a really fun game to play. I think baseball is a very fun game the way it's structured right now. But I do think there's something there in terms of the way you could up volume. That might
Yeah.
be the path to upping volume.
Yeah, it's definitely something that would be in their favor to figure out how, but I don't want, like, the main contest changed. Like,
Right.
I love the edge
Exactly.
that we have.
Yeah. All right, great show, Nez. Enjoy the ball game tonight.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Numi couldn't be with us today. Enjoy Coachella. He's gonna go. You're getting your jibs cleaned up, and then you're going straight to a music festival. That's how it
Yeah.
works, right?
Yep, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have any service there, but if I do, maybe I'll, try to pop on and give you guys a show.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Love to see it. Yes, we will be back. Just Numi and I will be back tomorrow on the Underdog Baseball channel. We will be talking. I really like the show style we did last time. If anybody has any feedback there, where we kind of do some evergreen and some non just hardo draft stuff for kind of like the first 30 minutes, and then we jump in some drafts and talk slate specific. Good luck to anybody playing MLB Streets tonight. Good luck to anyone slamming in those last minute dance and waltz entries. I do think there is some really good leverage still available now that we know some of the matchups. Trae Young was relatively unowned. I mean, let's go in there and get ourselves a little bit of Trae Young. Never know. Yeah. Do us a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that follow notification bell on the way out the door. Underdog Fantasy, promo code MLB, 100% match deposit up to 100 USD on behalf of myself and Nez. Everybody's favorite time of the show. The end. Peace.